it's kind of one of my pet peeves when people that are parents, which would include myself,
Yes.
get really into the trends that their kids are in. So that's where
Like when
it's just
parents
strange.
act like they think this is cool too. Like that is, wow, I was trying to think of something like a cool thing to say, but the thing that came to my head was fleek.
On fleek.
Would you say
He's
it's
so
on fleek?
they're so chopped.
What does that mean?
I think chopped means ugly.
Oh no.
Yeah.
So bullying's back. Bullying was definitely quite popular when we were growing up, and then it was very out of style, and now it's coming back, huh? Bullying.
Yeah, but it is one of those things where it's like I'll see adults with labubus, and it just kind of irks me. I you know what the kids would say? It gives me the ick. It's just an
icks.
ick. What's one of your icks?
I don't see. I think having icks is an ick.
Well,
I think it's like very
okay. So what's your pet peeve? What's one of your pet peeves?
What
What really peeves you?
Let me think about the icks.
You know
Well,
what gets me really peeved?
what peeves me off? Maybe when people use the word peeve as a
Do people say peeve me
no,
off?
I don't think I'm not having a lot of conversations with people who are talking about peeving. We actually are talking about pet peeves today, business owner pet peeves, because there are quite a few things as I've been involved in the business world that, first of all, bother me about people running businesses, including ourselves. These are things that we've done too, not all of them, some of them. But as especially you spend a lot of time on Instagram, you start seeing these things. We just wanted to talk through them. This is not a vent episode necessarily.
Speaking of Instagram, you know what one of my pet peeves is? When people record themselves crying.
Okay.
That just has to do with Instagram. I'm just trying to be strategic, thinking about pet peeves, being proactive. And that immediately came to mind when you mentioned Instagram.
You see that a lot,
and
do
things
you?
that you see. I don't see it a lot, but I don't want to ever see it at all.
Understood.
Got it.
Understood. A pet peeve of mine, before we start talking about business pet peeves, you asked about what my pet peeve is. One of my pet peeves is people who believe all the conspiracy theories, like conspiracy theorists, where there's no such thing as a coincidence. Everything is orchestrated. Now, don't get me wrong. I love a conspiracy and I believe some of them. You know what's one that I used to not believe at all, but now I'm 1,000% believing, and I'm not going to keep. It's not political. Don't worry.
I'm definitely.
You're like, oh no, where is he going with this?
I'm definitely in on some political conspiracy
So
theories
am
at the
I.
moment.
Do you ask me about it off the podcast? When you see me in the grocery store, I'll tell you all about it. But one thing that I am absolutely kind of like pretty certain is a conspiracy that I used to just believe with wholeheartedly. I don't think we landed on the moon. I think the moon landing was faked.
Why do you say that?
I just, some things come across my desk from time to time as I'm scrolling, and I've seen people debunking the moon landing. Also, I think space in general is a bit of a conspiracy. If you've seen those videos like the astronauts live broadcast from the space station, and the lady's hair is straight up, but even when she flips around, it's still straight up. Like it's not flowing.
Interesting.
It's just hairsprayed straight up. And you can see where they the green screen, like cables and stuff.
That seems.
Look it up.
Really?
Look it up. Yes. I'm not kidding.
I was going to make a joke about you can see the wires holding.
You
them
can.
up.
You can see the little harness thing.
Really?
If you're looking for it, yeah. But I do think the moon landing was faked. It's not feeling authentic to me, and
It's just not your truth.
and I'm just speaking
Not
my
my
truth here.
truth.
Yeah,
Not my
it's-
truth.
It's not feeling authentic to me, and we're not gonna take you down the rabbit hole because this is not a conspiracy podcast.
And I'm sure there are some amazing conspiracy theory podcasts out there.
That would be something worth looking up, although I don't know that I sort of want that algorithm fed my way.
True. So people who believe everything and think that everything is connected.
It's not. I'm not saying gullible people are a pet peeve. I'm saying people who are. It doesn't matter what it is. Everything is some sort of a conspiracy, and they're the victim. Maybe that's it. Maybe that's the pet peeve is people who are perpetually the victim, and they're always the victim of some larger. Everyone's always out to get them.
Gotcha.
And that's just not possible. And it also implies that the entire whole world revolves around you. It's a bit narcissistic. It's a pet peeve of
So we
mine.
got to the root of the pet peeve. It actually has
Narcissism.
it has nothing to do with conspiracy theories. It has everything to do with narcissism and selfish people.
Well, yes, because my biggest pet peeve overall, just overarching, is always going to be inconsideration, a lack of consideration, which has served us well in business because we have successfully built processes around being the antithesis of that. But a lot of the business owner pet peeves that I have on my trusty iPad here, the iPad may be a bit of a pet peeve, if I'm being completely honest. The thing is just,
It's great. You know what? It's great for kids.
okay,
The iPads are great for kids.
sure.
But I feel like as an adult, is there really a place for the iPad in our world?
As a
Because
podcaster, yes, there
as a
is.
millennial, I know this is going to be a truth. This is my truth. There are certain jobs that are laptop jobs.
Booking travel, booking trips.
Big purchases,
100%.
certain types of research. I'm a guy who loves to research. If I'm doing something, I don't need to know everything about it. And I'm certainly not going to argue with the person I'm buying it from, but I want to have a pretty good understanding of what I'm getting myself into. A great example of this is I was buying an older Land Rover Discovery, the boxy ones. And I did a lot of research and I figured out like, this is the one that I want. And I went to this really low end dealership. And the guy was telling me that this Land Rover was something that it wasn't. And I was just like,
He's like, no, this is a Rolls Royce.
well, he was telling me it was a sport package.
Okay.
And so
which is that higher level?
yeah,
Okay.
it was a trim level above. And I think even an engine thing above. And I was like, it's just not, it's not. And so he ended up calling Land Rover of Minneapolis. They confirmed that I was correct. So he just like knocked the price down.
Nice.
And I bought it on the spot.
Nice.
But all that to say, I like to research, and an iPad is never working its way into my rotation. I'm on my phone and then it's like, whoa, I'm really getting into the weeds here on this conspiracy theory that
Yeah.
I'm researching.
Let's pop the top on that laptop.
It's time to pop the top.
Speaking of not conspiracy, it's pet peeves of the iPad. I don't like the numbers here where it tells you how much 30% battery left, which
Oh.
that just stresses me out. I would rather just look at the icon and then you just tell me when it turns red. I don't need to see the countdown, the live countdown of 29%, 28%. That stresses me out.
My landscaper right now, who's doing some work at my house, he's sending me like inspiration ideas, and he's screenshotting things. He's constantly in the red.
I admire-
the highest I've seen his phone is 18%.
Oh my God.
I don't know what he's doing.
I admire people who have such little regard for their devices dying. I could never.
Well, that's speaking of kids these days, everything dies all the time. It's like,
So what do
just
they do?
plug it in.
So what happens then?
Oh, my phone's dead. Oh, my iPad's dead. Where's the charger? Oh, I need the charger. And it's just everything's constantly dying because they have no patterns, no rhythm of plugging things in. We millennials, we plug things in when? Overnight. At night, we plug it in.
If you always plug it in, it never dies.
That's exactly
Well,
right.
that's not true because then it just dies a lot faster.
Maybe
I-
they know something we don't know.
I think they do know because I think you're supposed to let the battery die.
I think technically you are.
Well, I'm going to do right by the iPad today. Let's transition from personal pet peeves to business pet peeves. There are so many. It's hard to narrow it down. I'm sure we'll think of more as we're talking. And if you have some that we forgot, please let us know. Something that I see a lot, especially this time of year. This is why this topic got brought up right now. I'm seeing this a lot on Instagram, especially, and you've got to stop. What I'm talking about is apologizing for taking time off. When you see someone say, updated holiday hours, or even if it's not looking ahead to a holiday, if it's just like, oh, something happened at work, short staff, whatever. When people are I'm so sorry for the inconvenience.
Or it often reads like 4th of July hours, July 3rd, 8 a.m. to 3 p.m., July 4th closed. Sorry for the inconvenience.
And then, begs the question, the inconvenience of what? Taking time off like everyone else is doing to celebrate a holiday that everyone else is out. It doesn't make any sense.
You deserve to slam a glizzy just like everybody else.
What? What's a glizzy?
Hot dog.
What?
Yeah.
Are you kidding? I've never
No, I'm
heard that.
not kidding.
Why is it called that?
I don't know. I don't know.
A glizzy.
We were just kind of talking about kids these days. And then I just brought the 4th of July off. And it's like, you as a business owner,
go ahead and gut that glizzy.
you could deep throw that glizz.
But it's true. You do deserve to deep throat a glizzy.
But that is a good point, because oftentimes our first reaction when we're doing something that is healthy and that is boundary driven is to apologize for it.
And as mentioned, seeing this a lot right now because we're getting into the holidays now. We're seeing updates to people's schedules, their holiday hours. They're listing the days they're closed. Don't apologize, but thank them for their flexibility or their understanding. You could say updated holiday hours. I'm taking, you know what, by the way, most this year, it's 2025 if you're listening to this in real time, or if you're from the future and you're listening to
If you're from the moon.
this is how things were going in 2025. If you're from the moon,
they're listening
Martians. Now there's a conspiracy. Martians.
They did land on the moon.
The Martians are like, well,
They landed on the moon, gave us an iPad, and now we're listening to Appointment Only.
So for all you Martians out there listening from the future, it's 2025 and we're getting into the holidays. And what you could say is the second 2 weeks of this year, because I think Christmas and New Year's are both on a
Fridays?
Thursdays. So what are most people going to do? They're going to take the entire last 2 weeks of December off, as they should. And I'm not saying you need to do that, but what you shouldn't do and what we will not do, right? I'm deciding for us all unilaterally. This is an executive decision here. We are not going to be apologizing for taking time off over the holidays. Instead of saying, I'm so sorry for the inconvenience, just say, thanks for your flexibility, or thanks for your understanding, or have a happy holiday.
Have a holly jolly Christmas.
It's the best time of the year.
Oh, by golly, have a holly jolly Christmas this year.
Beautiful.
People are going to be taking December 22nd through January 2nd off. First day back, January 5th. That's going to be the rhythm this year, because that's just the way that it works out. December 22nd through January 5th, most people are going to be fully off for it.
I don't know. I don't have a plan yet, but I'm really hoping to do something that week, the week between Christmas and New Year's.
Wow.
New Year.
Well, keep us posted.
That's going to keep them coming back for more.
There's a cliffhanger.
Absolutely.
Oh, my hands are killing me.
You're just going to have to keep tuning into Appointment Only.
My forearms are on fire from hanging off this cliff.
Okay, so apologizing for doing regular things like taking holidays off, stop it.
Apologizing for doing things that all of your clients do and don't apologize to you for.
Yeah.
Stop it.
Okay, here's one. Stop calling it a piece.
A piece?
Whatever. Whatever you're selling. I see this a lot in my industry, but if you're selling clothing, stop calling it a piece.
Can you please use this in a couple of sentences?
This piece is green. I'm loving that piece.
Ew.
Isn't it horrible?
I don't like it.
Stop calling it a fucking piece. It's not a piece.
Or we're going to call you a piece of something.
Yeah, exactly. If you don't want to be a POS, stop calling it a piece. The artwork, it's not a piece. It's a painting. Right?
Non-business pet peeve of mine.
Mm-hmm.
My guy or my dude.
Oh, and tell us why. I think I'm with you.
So, what's up, my guy? What's up, my dude?
Nobody says that.
Or you're posting about somebody. Oh, my guy rolling in, deep throat and glizzies. Call this person a friend. Call this person a client.
Yeah, like it's too vague, but it's also
too vague.
not.
But it's like you clearly don't feel comfortable classifying this person as anything other than.
It's non-committal.
It's non-committal.
And it's no wonder us millennials came up with this, because millennials are notoriously non-committal. I can't wait for our upcoming episode, the millennial versus boomer showdown, in which we have, it's a fight club, and we're going to be beating the shit out of a boomer.
Yeah, we are.
No, we're not going to, but
Tipping that wheelchair over.
what we are going to do is we're going to spell out some of the differences and the obvious differences, but also, the communication and the expectations and all of that. But that is millennial. That's got millennial all over it. A lack of commitment to even call someone a friend or to call someone a client. You could also just say my client. Why do you have to say my guy?
Or my dude.
My dude. So it's not a piece, right?
I don't think it's a piece.
It is not a piece.
It doesn't matter what you're selling. It ain't a piece.
It's not a piece. It bothers me as well when I'm scrolling. And this, you know what? This one is going to be geared towards you people in my industry, you custom clothiers. But I also have some other examples. I'm scrolling content and it's all the same content. It's this. Ready? I'm going to act this out.
I'll give the commentary.
Okay.
Kenny's standing up. Oh, he was going to try to squeeze in between the two chairs, but he's not nearly thin enough for that.
It is.
So he's standing up. Oh, he's squatting now.
For the camera. So,
Okay, he's squatting down. Ooh, looks like he just put his jacket. Ooh, straightening his tie, fixing his cuff. Ooh, adjustments there. Oh, he can't quite button the jacket because he's a little too big for that. So maybe he's just going to yank it out.
explain what I'm actually doing.
Essentially, what Kenny was just doing there and attempting to act out is just, constant adjustment of the clothes and here we go, kind of wiggling my neck, getting my jacket to sit just right. Gotta peek those cuffs out a little bit.
And you know what that is. I mean, you've seen that, right?
Yeah.
Is there any time you haven't seen it?
I've only ever seen
and
that.
that's what I'm saying. Is content that's so unimaginative, so generic that it couldn't possibly stand out. The other piece of content that I hate in my industry, and I am so sorry because I know so many of you custom clothiers listening do this. You might want to think twice before you do it again, or I'm going to be upset. But it's just that scrolling through the fabric swatches.
Boring.
Wake me up when this is over. Just nothing says swipe quicker than scrolling through fabric swatches. It's so boring. People, it's not enthralling. It's just that.
Well, and that's in our business, the hardest thing that guys deal with is trying to envision it made up. It takes the expert guiding them through that process. So what are they going to do with you thumbing through
Why
fabrics?
would you pre-overwhelm people? It doesn't make any sense.
And there's always like old-timey music over it too.
Oh, the crooner tunes. The crooner tunes. Oh my gosh.
Town.
I cannot with the elevator music. So that's our industry specifically.
Or just any content in general that is geared towards the lowest common denominator.
Yes.
Like the low-hanging fruit clientele, when your content is clearly catered exclusively to them, that bugs me. Because it communicates that maybe you're not running a low-end business.
You're probably not
but it
running
reads like you are running a low-end
But I
business.
think that's the problem with, I think a lot of content is because it's easy to try to create content for the LCD, the client that's easy and that's prevalent. That isn't necessary. It's sort of like the idea of doing the whole volume thing versus margin. It's a lot easier to speak to the masses and to say something that most people will understand versus having a really tailored strategic message toward a target demo client who you actually want to earn their business.
Well, and I think too, in catering your messaging to that low-hanging fruit, I think it's just because it's easy. It's easy for business owners to communicate why somebody should use them and why someone should pay the price to use them. That's easy. If you're a photographer or a restaurateur or a custom clothier or whatever, it's really easy to explain why what you sell is worth the price tag. But that message in and of itself is really low-end messaging because ultimately we're not after somebody who we have to convince that the price tag is worth it. We're after people who already want that, already value us, and are going to be happy to pay the price.
Now, this being said, we're speaking of, lazy content, easy content, throwaway stuff. It's just, you're posting to post, or it's the wrong messaging. I think objectively, I really think so. I think there is a right and a wrong way to do it. What I appreciate, and when I'm scrolling and I'm seeing things and I'm like, what the hell is that? I appreciate someone trying something new. If it doesn't make sense and I'm like, well, what are they doing now? It's interesting. I respect a creative hustle. I respect someone trying something new just to see if it's going to work, because that's what you have to do these days on especially on Instagram. Who knows what they want to push? So you got to try things. And I appreciate when I'm scrolling through and I'm seeing someone trying something new. I'm thinking of one person in particular who's been doing this, and their content is totally different now than it used to be. And I'm following along. I'm seeing how it's doing, and we'll see how it goes. And I'm sure you're anxiously anticipating seeing how it goes as well. But I do appreciate that, even though it feels weird and it feels cringe to try something new. It's always I do have a respect for it when I can tell that you're doing something that not everybody else is doing.
Speaking of respect, I think one of my pet peeves is when it's clear that the business owner does not respect themselves as much as they hold their client in regard.
Okay.
Meaning they feel as though they are subservient to the people who use them or the people who buy their products, where they feel like, oh, well, I'm just grateful to have had a place at the table. And they feel it's just like this gross kind of reverse pride where you're living in this place of, I think it's false humility to try to pump other people up and try to position your clients or the people who buy your products in a higher light. But ultimately, that bothers me because in any good relationship, it's a give and a take and it's a two-way street.
Like they're getting something from you too. You are bringing something to them. So you're saying that it feels put on, like
it feels
disingenuous.
it feels disingenuous. It feels put on. But if it's not, that's almost worse.
Where it's just like truly an insecurity.
Right. And how this manifests itself in our industry is, especially as it relates to somebody who has done somebody's wedding suit, they say something along the lines of like, thank you for the opportunity.
Yes.
Where that's just, it's demeaning yourself. Like,
Yeah.
why wouldn't you be the best person for that?
Right.
It's not an opportunity for you.
It's your job
to do somebody's wedding suit. They're hiring the expert to get the job done in the best way they see possible.
And listen, of course, I appreciate the people who come to us and use us and pay us money, but they appreciate us as well because we actually are giving them something they're paying for. They're not giving me money for free. I'm not just taking their money. They are being provided with something. So yes, on one hand, I of course appreciate everyone, but I'm not seeing anyone's hiring of me as a big opportunity in which I have more to prove to them than they have to gain from me. That's not true. And I agree with you. I mean, we both see this a lot, especially on Instagram, but that's just overall a general attitude that a lot of business owners have. And I think it's wrong. And I agree that it comes off, it either comes off really insecure or it comes off put on, neither of which is good.
Yeah. It's either what you truly believe, in which case your mindset absolutely needs work, or it's put on, in which case it just reads gross. And there's no positive spin of you owing your clients anything additional for working with you. That you just don't need to do that. They're working with you because they want what you have to offer. So meet their needs, take care of them, do your job, and it's a win-win for everybody, right?
Well, it should be.
It sure should be. That's the idea.
I'm going to jump back to when we were talking about content. The examples we gave were all about custom clothing. Pretty much were all about it. I was trying to think of another industry that it's very noticeable that a lot of the content is rinse and repeat. What I came up with was like online coaches, whether it's fitness or business or life coach or style coach, whatever it is. Oh, I've got one.
Oh,
don't let me forget. I need to finish this thought, though.
Okay. Got it.
Got it?
Yeah.
All right. So the coaching world, the online coaching world is super saturated now, right? And we all know that. And the whole like framework idea, I feel like the idea of this is the framework, like the word framework and also like selling everything as though it's a framework, I think is super tired and also lazy because it's like, what does that mean? I think it's lost its meaning and it's so prevalent. And I think every Instagram caption cannot possibly be a framework.
That's right.
Right.
Yeah.
And so that's sort of a pet peeve of mine. And it's one that I've recently started seeing because we mentioned this a couple episodes ago, but we have an online coaching arm as well where we're coaching custom clothiers.
And listen, it's not complicated. Here's the framework. Okay.
Read caption for framework, which I don't mind. Like, again, it's, this is how people make money. It's a legitimate business too, by the way. I'm not saying all these people are a bunch of fakers, but everything everything's not a framework, I don't think.
It's just kind of like the lazy, easy word,
And
just like my dude.
my dude. And I do think
My dude, here's the framework.
here's the framework,
okay,
my dude. And I do sense that as we're scrolling, I do think we generally have framework fatigue where we're just kind of tired of it. And if I see click caption for framework, I'm not clicking caption.
You're
I'm
scrolling.
I'm scrolling. I'm moving on. So maybe that's just me, but that's what I've seen. And it does relate to your business. So even if you're using a different word than framework, I would strongly encourage that because I think people are just sick of that word.
So what was the offshoot pet peeve as it relates to coaches?
This is, you know what this is? This is a callback because this is both a pet peeve and a conspiracy theory. When we work with someone, sometimes they'll come in and they'll say, would you like to see my colors?
Oh. No.
I couldn't think of anything worse than seeing your colors.
I couldn't be less interested in your colors.
Your colors mean nothing to me. And what
you mean nothing to me.
What I mean by that is you've seen these things on the color analysis where, and people are going to be mad at me for this because this is something that people do, I guess. But I think it's such a crock of shit where they have that, it's like a cape, you know?
Yeah.
You've seen these. And then they like move the colors and they're like, they move the colors around. They're like, oh no, that's not your color. And then they move another one and they're like, oh, that's still not your color. And you can sometimes, if you're watching the person, you can see their eyes. And sometimes they think it's their color until the lady behind them tells them that's not your color. And they're like, oh
yeah, I knew that.
Yeah, I know. And then I will give them this. Sometimes there is a color that looks good on the person.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like for us, if you have our coloring, your blonde hair, your blue eyes, what looks good on you, right? Blue. Everyone knows that. When you wear blue, your eyes pop, you know? Don't hate me because you ain't me.
That's right.
When I'm wearing blue, yeah, my eyes pop. But so yes, of course, there are some colors out there that look better on people than others. But I do not agree with the idea that there's like, you have one season of colors, and if your colors aren't in this,
you're in autumn.
Yeah. Are you a spring? Are you a late spring?
We were working.
No, I'm an early winter.
I thought
Like,
so. That's what they
what?
always say. I like with the horoscope thing. That's not a pet peeve of mine, but
Are
listening.
you
to
a Capricorn?
No, I'm a Virgo. Oh yeah, that's what I thought.
What
It's
I
like,
thought.
No, it's not what you thought because you guessed something different. We were working with a client once and he brought in, his wife wanted him to do this color analysis. And so he brought in his colors and probably 50% of the colors I agreed with, but he was a really rosy complexioned guy. And it was like pastels, like soft pinks. This guy does not look good in soft pink. Not at all. In fact, it makes his like rosy complexion look even more pink when he was wearing pink.
Well, maybe he wanted that. Maybe he said, I want to look pink.
He's like, pink me.
I want to look like a farm pig.
Listen, color coach. It's time to get pink.
It's time to pink me up.
Yeah, I can see in our business, we deal with a lot of the people who feel like they have a good handle on colors because they've gone through that process with somebody.
It's just not so complicated.
And it's
Most
not.
colors are going to look fine on you. And then there are some colors, depending on your coloration, that look really good. And when people are like, well, what? Oh, is this blue not going to look good on me? I always say, listen, the only color that's not going to look good on you is if it's the exact same color as your skin tone, because then you're going to look like a thumb. But as long as there's some contrast between your skin and what you're wearing, you're good.
Well, and just to get really inside baseball in our industry, it doesn't matter what color the jacket or the suit is because you have a shirt that's actually on your skin. That's the contrast you want. And shirts are, for the most part, much lighter or much darker than the suiting pieces itself. So it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. It's all about that shirt and skin connection.
And I will die on this hill. So if you have gotten your colors analyzed, nope. If you've gotten your colors analyzed, nailed it, then you wasted your money. Sorry.
Yeah.
But this should be good news for you, right? This should be good news because all those clothes that you bought in your closet that some crabby lady told you couldn't wear, you can. Unless it's exactly the same color as your skin tone, in which case, wear it anyway. See if I care. I don't. But I'd recommend maybe steering clear of that. So, I don't care if you're a late spring.
It doesn't matter
I don't
to
think
me.
you are. I don't believe it.
No,
You're not. You
doesn't
just
exist.
wear what you want. And if you are wearing something that you like, you'll feel good.
Right?
Right.
You've got to be a summer. I'm actually winter. I thought so.
That's what I thought. Yeah. Yeah. That's
I
what
knew
I thought.
it.
And in Aries.
Yeah. Well, what? Huh?
And Aries, right?
Capricorn.
Oh, that's what I thought.
Yeah, I knew that.
We're Aries. We're kind of barely Aries. Did you know that?
No.
I don't know anything more about it, but I do know that we happen to be Aries. Okay. Thanks for hanging with us here. And if we missed a pet peeve of yours, honestly, let me know.
We were kind of just paintbrushing over things. Of course, as it relates to running a business, there are so many things that I think are dangerous, and I just hate to see it.
You hate to see it.
I hate to see
You
it
hate
with
to
small
see it.
business
Mhm.
owners, but they're not things where it's like, oh, that's a pet peeve. Because oftentimes the people who are doing these things, they don't know any better. They're just trying to get it figured out. Like I could easily say, oh, it's my pet peeve when people don't take their margin seriously. Well, that's actually a really costly lesson that person's going to have to learn. So we're kind of just brush stroking these pet peeves in a way that felt fun. Felt fun.
We like to have a good time.
Rip on behavior, but
Appointment only is number one fun.
it's the number one fun podcast.
Congratulations on our award. Our number one podcast for fun seekers.
Yeah, I think.
I haven't seen that
Well,
category.
you know what I've said before.
What have you said
The
before?
more you niche, the fewer competitors you have. The number one podcast for business owners who want to have fun and want to run a business that isn't running them.
For late summer colors.
We're going to end with bad business advice.
Bad business advice brought to you by Lagunitas Hoppy Refresher. If you're thirsty and you're a late autumn in your color analysis, reach for a Lagunitas Hoppy Refresher. Color scheme, green, blue, and off-white. It is, though.
Lagunitas Hoppy Refresher.
You match this.
If you're choking because you just deep-throated a glizzy, this is for you.
You actually do match the Hoppy Refresher.
I do.
You see that, Lagunitas? You see
Well,
how
you know
this is
why?
meant to be?
You know why?
Why?
It's because I'm in autumn. That's why.
Well, and I don't even know what we are. And who cares?
I don't know what we are. I mean, I know what colors I like to wear. Some of the colors I like to wear, I'm going to throw this out there. I don't think I look that good in brown. But guess what color I actually really love to wear? Brown.
Listen, I agree with you. I think you look like shit in brown.
Thank you.
No, just kidding. What I was going to say is that it's been challenging when we're doing this podcast with the video aspect because I'm trying so hard to think about the videos that were being sent because the last year I've been very hyper-focused clothing wise on neutrals. Almost everything I've been doing has been a neutral, like a brown or some sort of a mid-green, greens and browns, earth tones. And they all look the same on camera. So I'm trying to make sure there's a variety when you go to our Instagram and you're looking through our reels, a variety of clothing. And question for you before we get to bad business advice. Would you be opposed to having a conversation about...
There we go. Nice.
That's a sales trick for you. Would you be opposed to having a conversation about adding this? What are they going to say? I'm opposed to having a conversation about
Sometimes.
it. Sometimes they do. Usually they'll say no, and then you get an opportunity to sell them more. Would you be opposed to ever doing the podcast in our casual clothes?
I would not be opposed to it at all.
Regulars weigh in. Would you be opposed? Sorry for the inconvenience. Would you be opposed to having a conversation about allowing us to wear things that aren't our suits? Would that upset you? Both of you YouTube watchers. Mom, Dad, would that upset you?
Okay.
Denise, is that going to throw you off? No, but seriously, I don't know. It just doesn't feel on brand for me to do anything, like put anything out there where I'm not actually feeling like I'm presenting accurately. But I do think it would be really, really nice to be able to just wear some of my other clothes.
Just let it rip, if you will.
I would love to let it rip.
I would love to let it rip casually. We'll see.
So we'll see what you say. This is up to you. I'm serious. If you want to see it, let me know. If you don't want to see it, also please let me know.
Here's some bad business advice. Or I don't know. Maybe it is. Maybe it isn't. You tell me. Don't worry about money. Just focus on your craft.
Just focus on your piece.
Just focus on the pieces.
Horrible advice. I do. The first part of it actually wasn't upsetting to me. the don't worry about money. Asterisk. I don't think it's wise to not think about money and only focus on what you're doing, what you're selling, what your business is, because you have to make a profit. It doesn't do you or your customers or clients any good to not have thought through what your margins are and be able to stay in business. The most important sale is the second sale, not the first sale. So you want to be able to give people an opportunity to buy from you again. And that's not going to happen if you're so focused on just doing your thing and you're not really thinking about money. That being said, I do believe there is an underrated piece of business advice in which I am a strong advocate for making decisions that feel right, even if they may not pass the banker test.
Okay.
By that, I mean, would a banker or an accountant look at this decision and say, this is a no brainer? Oftentimes, no. They're much too conservative fiscally. They are not going to advocate for making what could be considered a risky decision. But I do think there's a time and a place, and that this is where self-awareness comes into play. We have made many decisions over the years that wouldn't have made any sense on paper, didn't make any sense on paper, and paid off huge. Big risk, big reward. We've also made some decisions over the years that were risk on paper and didn't pay off. So it goes both ways, of
And
course.
we've also made some decisions that on paper made sense
Right,
and didn't work.
right.
So,
You know what's a great metaphor for this is when you are trying to buy a home. And it's not about how much money you make. They don't care about how much money you make. All they care about is it the right kind of money? W-2. Because the bank looks at this and says, oh, well, you're employed. That's less
Right.
risky than owning your own business. Well, that's not true. Look at what's going on right now around the country, around the world, the layoffs. You don't have any control over what happens at your job. People are getting laid off all over the place. We're here in Minneapolis. We have Target headquartered here. They just laid off, 1,000 people or something the other day. This is a very big medical, very big in the medical world for devices as well as actual hospitals. And Mayo is an hour away, and they are always restructuring, doing different buy-offs and all of this stuff. I would argue being an employee of a company is riskier
is as risky, if not riskier.
because you are not in control of over what happens. And you have a job one day, you wake up the next day and you've been laid off. That to me feels a lot riskier than having a business that you've built where you have access to your business funds, but you also have access to unlimited clients, customers.
I remember really struggling with that when we went full time and we were having conversations about what it would look like to maybe move and move homes. And we were having some of those early financial conversations. It just wasn't making sense to me where it would make on paper more sense for me to shut my business down, get a W-2 job that I could be fired or let go from at any time, than it would be to stay in my job where realistically I could give myself a raise to afford whatever mortgage I was taking on overnight.
Well, and there was no consideration for length of time in business, income coming through. It just doesn't make any sense, really.
Yeah, they put way more roadblocks in front of you if you're self-employed than if you have a W-2 income. But what were we getting at with?
It's the bad business advice.
Oh, bad business advice. Gotcha. Oh, things that make sense on paper or don't make sense on paper that don't pass the banker test. Know yourself well enough to know what things are worth going after. And you don't have to not think about money, but only thinking about money isn't the most important thing. Neither is don't think about money at all and just focus on doing what you love.
It's a give and a take, for sure. Thanks for listening. If we missed a pet peeve of yours, let us know.
Anything that really peeves you off?
Thanks for listening. Your appointment's over. We'll see you at the next one.